What's going on, guys? It's Jordan McLeod here, and today I'm joined with one of my favorite people. This is my boy Felipe Saer. He is actually one of the Inbound Attraction Blueprint clients. He's actually one of the top successful clients that I have inside the program. And I wanted to bring him on because Felipe, we got done talking a little bit before this interview, but you have an amazing story, man. You're a very hard worker. You have a lot of value to offer when it comes to men's lifestyle in general. And I wanted to bring you on to talk about your story as far as how you came across my channel, you came across my videos, why you ended up hopping into the program, but more so talking about the things that you worked on to improve on yourself overall when you joined the program, but also more importantly, as a way to inspire other men, what you've been able to accomplish so that you can help them do the same and be inspired by your story, man. If you want, please feel free to give the men a quick and brief introduction of you and just let them know a little bit about you, man.
Absolutely. I appreciate the introduction. Very humbled by that introduction. Yeah, my name is Felipe. I've been a photographer, videographer for a little while now. As of more recently, I've been really trying to put myself out there in just like the social media space. A big part of what I've done for the past couple of years has been trying to self-improve. And I've realized over the past year, past couple months, that's not something that I can do by myself. And I've had to reach out to other men like Austin, Dunham. Sure some of you guys have heard of him, and also just Jordan, who has a very well put together program, obviously. And through that process of self-improvement, I've just seen that there's a need for men out there as well to have some kind of a figure, some kind of a role model that they can learn and pick these things up from. And men like Austin, Jordan, and myself, I think are really trying to push this forward in different areas. Jordan focusing more on YouTube, and then me trying to focus a little bit more on IG, like through the Get Ready With Me's and other cool little videos, that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, you're doing a lot of amazing stuff, man, especially with the reels as far as like the fashions, the getting ready with me. I see the comments and you're putting a lot of men on game and providing a lot of value, man, which is absolutely amazing. But I'm also not surprised just because I could see your lane as far as like the fashion, the men's lifestyle. So I knew you were going to kill it as soon as you started creating content like that, man, which leads me into before you hopped into the program, how did you stumble across my channel? Like, where were you at in terms of just like your looks, like the things that you wanted to improve on? Let's say facial aesthetics, your physique, even your dating life in terms of just the type of treatment or attraction that you wanted to see from women and stuff. Like, just where were you at with all that? And how did you stumble across the channel?
One of the biggest things that I've realized, and one of the difficult truths of life that I think you figure out at one point or another, is that looks really do matter, especially now, like the social media age that we live in. If you're trying to be someone that promotes yourself, like on social media, like looks unfortunately do matter a lot. And where I found myself previously to meeting you and connecting with you was like this, again, like self-improvement journey that I had gone through with Austin, getting down to a certain degree of body fat, had it already maximized some of my looks to be able to, what's the word, like market myself better to both like for business opportunities, but also like towards women. But then when I came across your channel, it was more of a necessity to try to reach that last like 10%. By no means am I exactly where I think I could be. I feel like I've improved a lot. But when I came to you and I came across your channel, it was really just out of like necessity to get that extra 10%. During one of our conversations that we had, I think the verbiage was, "You look like Eric from The Little Mermaid."
Yeah. Yeah. Like,
Not like
yeah,
it's not a bad thing to
it's
be like
not.
to be complimented as like a prince or like someone that's already handsome. But I think Eric from The Little Mermaid and like Jacob from Twilight just they hit different.
Yeah.
And from a marketability standpoint, like I really felt like I needed to improve upon that look that I was coming in with, which was like Eric from The Little Mermaid. And I had come across like specifically a video from yours, which just randomly popped up in my YouTube feed. It was like this, I think maybe the first one you ever put out there, which was like this breakdown, like step by step on just like maximizing like your facial aesthetics and just like fitness. And I think the level of just detail, my background, like I graduated as an engineer, which I'm definitely not like pursuing right now, but it definitely brought me a lot of skills in terms of processes and like details and things just making sense. And the way that information was presented to me, that made a total sense in terms of like, all right, do this, that, and the other, specifically for improving your facial aesthetics. And that's honestly what sold it for me. Like when I saw that video, I was coming in like, all right, if I want to improve my face, and well, if I want to go from like Eric from the Little Mermaid to something a little bit more, then I think this is the route to take. And what really put the cherry on top for me that made me want to really reach out to you was when I saw that Casey transformation. He's a bigger dude, like heftier, masculine guy, which he has that going for him aside from just how great he is in presenting himself socially and all that and communicating. But in terms of the facial presentation, that changed the detail of like, all right, creating that angularity, getting a tapered haircut, the way that you described him, having a little bit more bulk towards the front of his haircut, that level of detail is what really did it for me. And after seeing that video, I knew that 10% that I was missing was going to come from getting in contact with you. So yeah, that's been my journey, is like of being able to reach that 10%, making myself as marketable as possible within like the social media online space, for the reason that unfortunately we live in a very vain society, specifically when it comes to like social media. So looks do matter. The way that people and businesses want to deal with you is unfortunately looks based, but you also obviously need to bring something a little bit more. So looks only open doors. What follows after that is you as a person.
That's well said. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to touch on, which I appreciate the kind words and just how you broke everything down so eloquently. But the one specific thing that I really want to touch on that I admire about you, that I believe all men should be like this if they want to be the best that they can ultimately be, just as a man, like not just the most handsome, attractive versions of themselves, as I always say in my videos, but be the most complete man, being the man of your dreams, even, right? And that specific thing that you have is that even though you worked with people like Austin, with shout out to Austin Dunham, even though you worked with him and you made leaps and bounds with your transformation working with him from where you started, you still were, like you said, you were trying to complete that remaining 10%. So even though you already believed in investing yourself, you already believed in putting the work to transform your life, your physical image, your mentality, your fitness, your fashion, all that stuff, you were still looking for more ways to improve, to reach that next level. And I think a lot of men, number one, don't invest in themselves. Honestly, they don't invest into mentorship, coaching, seeking out the streamlined answers that are going to help them actually get the results that they want at an accelerated rate, because they're getting guidance, because they're getting mentorship, because they're getting the right information compiled all in one place that's going to allow them to streamline that process to getting those results. But even then, man, like a lot of men just think that they invest in one person or one course or coaching program, and then they think they're done. They think that's all that they need. But like yourself, you understand that in order to be a master at something, you forever have to remain a student mentally. If you remain a student mentally for the rest of your life, you're going to actually have master skills, because the masters are the ones who are always learning and they're always investing in themselves. I know we're into entrepreneurship and stuff, but the most successful entrepreneurs, they're constantly investing in knowledge, mentorship, coaching programs, like spending a bunch of money on constantly getting new information so that they can get to the next heights and the next levels that they want to achieve, whether it's in business, fitness, dating, whatever it is. They're always looking for ways to invest in themselves to get to that next level. And that's something that I really admire about you, that I think a lot of men need to pay attention to that, because most men aren't doing that, right? Now, with that being said, the Prince Eric stuff, that had me laughing because I remember saying that. But what specifically, so you came in with the more of like the polished Prince Eric look, I think that's what we talked about. But what specifically did we work on to complete that remaining 10%?
Absolutely. So when I came in, and maybe you can add some photos to the video.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
Like the before and then the after. But when I came in, I had like longer hair. It wasn't like this spikier, messy look. And my facial hair was not like looking the way that it does right now. Specifically, things that we did was bumping down my body fat lower than it already was. So I came in like about 13% body fat, which realistically, that's not bad. Like I think
No.
say from 12 to 15% is like very healthy for men. But for the reason that I was trying to just like optimize like my facial aesthetics, you have to by necessity go lower in body fat. You definitely put me on the right track to lower that body fat even lower. So I think our initial goal was like 12%, and then going down a little bit further to 11%. And then at a certain point, I was like, all right, bro, like I actually need to reach 10%. Like I want to get there. So you had me working on that, which was really cool. Secondly, was definitely trying to optimize like angularity of my face and having an edgier look to transition from Eric Disney Prince to like an edgier Twilight character. You need to create something that stands out a little bit more and hits differently. So getting a tapered haircut, which I honestly I haven't gotten this low of a haircut in a very long time. And it's hard to tell and appreciate the taper and all that just because it's really dark right now. But getting a tapered haircut, like almost creating more of an angularity to my face, like that made huge difference. Realizing also just like the power of your facial hair and how that plays a whole role. So I think for the most part, you see a lot of like self-grooming videos for men and they tell you like, all right, hit it with the 4 all around, hit it with the 5 all around, get your trimmer and angle it and put it like right above your Adam's apple. And that's all fine and dandy. But the thing is that we all have very much like different facial structures. So learning that it's not about a one size fits all, but being able to adapt and create something that's tailored to my face is what really took it to that next level. So instead of doing the 5 all around, I said to hell with it. Let's do a 3. So doing a 3, having a little bit more towards the front, creating more of a mustache look. And I think this was like even an added tweak after our initial conversation. But those little things from a tapered haircut to really trimming the beard in such a way that pops a little bit more, hits a little bit more, creates more like jaw angularity and whatnot. That really just took everything to the next level.
Yeah, I remember because when you hopped in, I gave you like a free coaching call and we just dived more into what your specific goals were. And my thing for men is to try to exude as much sex appeal as possible, right? Even if you don't have the male model face and all that, where you can really win and still get a lot of amazing results when it comes to just looking better, looking more handsome and attractive, being more attractive to women, of course, and attracting women and more attractive women is by exuding sex appeal. So when you came in, I could see that, like you said, like you were already making amazing gains with your transformation overall. But I think I remember when you came in, like your beard was a little bit thicker. You were a higher percentage body fat in comparison to where you're at now. You're still pretty lean at 13%. But since you wanted more of that chiseled face, basically, and bring out more of that angularity, I know we talked about lowering your body fat percentage, like trying to get it down to like 12, 11%, see how things were from there. And then based on once we got you to that point, okay, let's try to lower this down a little bit more to really bring out the angularity and the sharpness and the definition in your face overall. And then trimming down your beard to showcase more of your jaw coming out and being more defined, but you lowered your body fat percentage. So therefore, with the combination of your body fat percentage being lowered, bringing out your jawline and your aesthetics more, but then trimming down your beard to showcase that started to already make your face more attractive and more appealing from a masculinity, sex appeal perspective. But then when we got the taper fade and trimmed down the sides and kind of trimmed down the bulk, because you had more of the Prince Eric hair, which was dope. But I could see for you, especially because you live in Florida, I could see you rocking what you have now. And I think the Jacob Black thing came about because I think you posted something about that on your Instagram, like something in relation to that, like the outfit was inspired or like the overall look was inspired by Jacob Black, which I mean, shout out to Jacob, man. I had a girlfriend that was into Twilight and stuff, so I know all about Twilight. But I saw like for you, a good haircut would have been the taper fade, trimming down the sides to debulk, the sides. That way your face did look a lot more angular and a lot more leaner and have more of that oval but defined face, and then have more of the spikiness, like the fringe look, just more exuding like that bad boy Jacob Black look. I think for me, how I was looking for you is like almost like that bad boy biker dude that has like the spiky hair, black leather jacket, like the wife beater under, and just exuding like that bad boy energy, masculinity, that sex appeal that girls do like. That was what I saw for you. And then once you started to put all that together, I was like, yeah, man, I think you reached that 10%. And you can let me know if you felt like you completed that 10% after we made those tweaks. But for me, I feel like when you came into the program and how you looked versus now how you look, I think you made leaps and bounds. And even though it was 10%, man, I don't know. I feel like you still made 10x the improvement at the same point, because everything, every percentage, every incremental improvement matters. But I still think that you made drastic improvements, even just completing 10%, which shows, man, that even if you make a 10% improvement in your looks, that can still drastically make you a lot more attractive than if you didn't make that improvement at all.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I think it's like similar to losing body fat, like going down that extra 1% from like 12 to 11 just hits different, even though it's 1%. So I appreciate that. I do agree that, yeah, like definitely, even though that was 10% for me, it definitely did have a significant impact, especially because I'm doing a lot of photo shoots and videos and all that kind of stuff. And angles and lighting just needs to hit different. Like it just,
Yeah.
you got to show yourself differently, and it's got to pop. And that all that just really did make a significant difference. And you can see it in like the before and after pictures for sure. You know, you can pull those up and you can see like when I came in to like where I'm at now in terms of like my aesthetics and how I look in pictures.
I said this in one of my videos. I don't know if you saw it, but because I'm a comic book nerd, man, like you remind me of Tim Drake, the third Robin, because he has more of the spiky hair look and stuff like that. But also, I don't know, have you ever seen the movie Ninja Assassin?
I Sounds familiar. Yeah.
Watch it. It's good. But the character, I believe his name is Rain, and he's like lean and shredded as hell. That's what you remind me of now, especially in one of your, I'll throw the picture up where I think it was a reel that you did where you were like shirtless in the gym, but like
Right.
the level of leanness that you've achieved, which that's why I try to tell these dudes, man, is like, you can't say like body game because you're practicing body game in the sense where you've improved the overall aesthetics of your physique. So I know that's going to garner more attention from women and attraction and help you when it comes to marketing on social media. But a lot of men, in my opinion, can't complain about them not being handsome and attractive and not attracting women, in my opinion, until you at least get to that 13% body fat percentage range. But if you get down a little bit leaner than that to, let's say, maintain a healthy 10% and you're proportionate, you have muscle mass to you, that's going to make drastic changes in your life. So that's just something I wanted to point out. But I was going to ask you, I know we've talked about this just one-to-one, but you're currently not dating right now just because you want to focus on building your personal brand, which makes complete sense. And I even did a video yesterday. It's funny. I did a video about how you can maintain dating women and self-improvement if you so choose to, right? If you really want to date women, if you have a girlfriend, I just dropped a video talking about how to do that. But if you just really want to
Timing on
focus,
that was impeccable, by the way. I did see
thanks,
like
bro.
I saw the video show up and I'm like, did I inspire him to do this video?
Yeah, the reason why I brought that up is because that was from just my personal experience, but I've also seen men ask about that. But the reason why I bring that up is because you were still able to achieve a lot of results inside the Inbound Attraction Blueprint program, even though you weren't focused a whole bunch on dating necessarily. You were just more so focused on dialing in though that 10% that you wanted to achieve with your overall physical image and looks. But I was curious, man, because we talked a little bit that you said that you have noticed, it seems like an increase in female attraction since you leveled up your looks. If you can touch more about that.
Yes, absolutely. So I haven't been actively dating just because I'm focusing 100% right now on just my business, my personal brand. I want to be a master of one and not a master of all. I want to be a master of all, but there's only so much time you can invest to becoming a master at different things at the same time. I haven't been doing that, but in terms of dating apps and all that, I definitely have them running and open just because for me, it's like a good indicator of like where my appearance and facially like how I'm doing in the market, right? If I get more likes, I get more matches, then I think we're doing pretty good. In terms of the before and after with Jordan specifically, I was already garnering some attention just because of I was presenting myself pretty well. But applications, we'll just use Hinge for example. That was one that I necessarily didn't get a whole lot of traction with. And I still think I'm shadow banned, by the way.
Mm.
But after having made tweaks to my appearance and presenting myself just like through some of the ways that I've learned from like Austin, I did definitely see some increase in likes overall. Not that I'm like doing anything about it, but just my new aesthetics and the way that I'm presenting myself in combination with a couple other things. Like I've seen the like count definitely go up on Hinge, on other applications, even like through DMs on Instagram and whatnot.
Ooh,
So it's
hey, there
made a
we go.
difference. Sure.
And then just a couple more questions, man, before we wrap up. But what would you tell someone based on your experience and the success that you've achieved? Which, by the way, I want to make it a point to let my audience know that you are the type of person that I prefer to have in the program. Like I really prefer men to already have done a level of self-improvement. That's something that I want to also make it known. That's why I was hyped actually when you came into the program, because when I saw your face, I saw your pictures, I'm like, I already know why this dude's here. I already knew that you were looking for more. I didn't know specifically what it was yet until we had that conversation, but I was hyped because I already knew you were putting in the work. I already knew that you take action. I already knew that you understand the importance of self-improvement, investing yourself, constantly reaching that next level of trying to improve and just be the best that you ultimately can be. So when I saw you join, genuinely, I was hyped as hell. And I knew that we were on the same wavelength. So I prefer men to already be on their self-improvement journey. But if they need dialed in with their face, their body, their fashion, their sex appeal, whatever it is, then they can consider joining the program. But I would already prefer men to already be putting in the work, building momentum when they join the program like yourself, because that means that they actually take action. If they take action and implement what I teach, just like you, which is why I wanted to bring you on, because your story is so inspirational, that's going to help them actually get results like how you've been able to achieve. With that being said, based on your experience, based on the results that you've been able to achieve, what would you tell somebody that may be on the fence of joining the Inbound Attraction Blueprint program?
Absolutely. I'm gonna get a little bit like kind of philosophical here for a
Let's
second,
do
but
it, man. I love it.
I'm gonna take it full circle. It really all starts off with just having a shift of mindset. For men specifically, I think we tend to settle. We tend to like sometimes let fear run us. I think even things like having a 9 to 5 can be somewhat of a safety net. I think society to a degree tells us this is the way that men need to provide for family. These are like the norms. And don't get me wrong, like outside of the red pill space, like that is like the mindset to a degree. But when you start being revealed to a lot of these truths of just like society, the way of like women's nature and generally like how things operate at a social media perspective and whatnot, you have to really desire like wanting like a life-changing experience, like wanting to change your life drastically for the better. Like you, if you really want to get the most out of this, like you have to want change. And change doesn't come out of like complacency. It doesn't come from just like doing one thing and just that's it. No, it comes from this continued persistence, this continued work, and also just continued failure. I didn't get here just because I got with Austin or because I got with Jordan and they just told me do this, do that. No, they told me, they gave me suggestions and information. But if you're not the kind of person that wants real change in their life, that wants a night and day difference, then this isn't for you. Like you will make the most of what you put in. Like you will that's just it. I think with like life in general, like the more you put into something, like the more that you will get out. And if you really want a life-changing like experience from this program or anything you do in life as like a man, like you really have to put full effort, commitment, consistency, and persistence because failure is bound to come. So that's just my spiel in terms of that. Highly recommend the course, like just a lot of amazing detail on how to get you from point A to point B, point Z, whatever you want to call it. But you have to be willing to put in the work. And Jordan's not going to do the work for you. Nobody is going to do the work for you. You have to want it for yourself and you have to show up day in and day out. You have to adapt, like get a skincare routine and you have to be committed to that if you want to see the changes. You have to go get a haircut every 2 weeks if you want to see a change. You have to keep up with your facial hair. These are all things that it sounds tedious, but it makes such a difference. Like the way that you present yourself on a daily basis makes such a big impact on just everything from business to just like relationally with other men, other women, everything. So put in the work. That's all I can really say. You got to want to put in the work and want to actually want change in your life. So that was it. Yeah.
Man, mic drop. I couldn't have said that better, man. So, Felipe, I really appreciate your time, dude. Your transformation, your story. It's amazing. I know it's going to inspire a lot of men. I got a lot of love for you, man. You're a hard worker, great work ethic, but even a better person, man. I'm glad that we're friends. I'm glad to have someone like you of your caliber in the program, because you are like the standard, in my opinion. I'm not just saying that because you're on here, but you are the standard of what I accept inside the program. And you are the type of man that I believe a lot of men should aspire to be like in their own way. But the way that you're constantly looking for ways to get better and constantly level up as a man, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, etc. I believe all men should be like that, man. So I appreciate having someone like you of your caliber as a model for that as well. And before we wrap up, man, where can people follow you? Where can they connect with you? And what do you have going on in the near future, man, that other men could be on the lookout for, and even patronize and invest in what you have going on?
Absolutely, man. Appreciate all your kind words, by the way. But you can definitely follow me on Instagram. That's really where I'm the most active right now, putting out weekly content from outfits to self-grooming. And I'm going to be doing some more content in terms of tailoring towards men and like just being real in the same way that I just gave you all this stuff about like self-improvement and just getting you hyped. I think that's also a necessity. So you can find some of that on in the near future in my Instagram as well. And yeah, just keep up with me. This is just the beginning, I think, for both you and me in terms of our journey, but we're going far.
Oh yeah, man. Again, it was a pleasure having you on, man. I appreciate your time, dude. And continue killing it, man. Continue doing what you're doing, because you're going to be inspiring. You already are inspiring other men, but you're just going to be inspiring and impacting men's lives for the better as you just continue doing what you're doing, man. So thank you again for your time, Felipe. I really appreciate you, bro.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely, man.